Stay with me for a while. If you watched the Photons finale, I hope that made a little bit of sense to you. Okay, photons, wave, light waves, spectroscopy, electrons, particles, or waves. Electrons can act like waves too, otherwise, we wouldn't have electron microscopes. The electrons act like waves to come in to view things. What's the rest of matter? Atoms. What's an atom? What what makes up an atom? Is it possible that the other pieces of matter that are a lot more massive than electrons, you remember electrons had mass, charge to mass ratio. There's also charge to mass ratio of individual atoms. So let's imagine, get away from the idea that things are concrete pieces that you can draw a line around or stick together. Let's start thinking about the fact that if photons were a big surprise, that they had particle like nature, even though they were wave like, and that electrons are a big surprise, and that we thought they were particles and they also had wave like properties. Why wouldn't the rest of the universe have these wave like properties? So that's the next step here, is to try to figure out what are the other pieces of the atom. What is a proton or a neutron, and how are they related? You should have a good idea that the electron and the photon are related, because you can actually create a photon when an electron changes an energy level. So if there were no electrons, would we have no photons? That might be the case. What about the protons? How do we figure out, and what are the justifications for some of the ideas that we have about protons and neutrons? And are protons and neutrons related to electrons, or are they something completely different? That's where we want to head next. That's where I want to head next. I don't know if that's where you want to head next, but the best I can do, because I don't have two-way communication on this video, is to come up with some ideas of my own, and hopefully you can relate to those.